Howdy, heck and hello. And welcome back to the Insomnia Café.
Hello.
Sorry, we've been gone a little bit. We've had life
cafe renovation.
Yeah, a little reno going on. We might be moving locations. Who knows? Today we got a fun little nostalgic trip down memory lane for most of us Zillennials. We're going to talk about weird kid shows.
Hell yeah. Also, I just want to preface this. If you are a parent or a child watching this show, I would recommend you maybe listen to it alone before you let your kid listen to it, because this is not necessarily for children. We're just talking about stuff that we watched as children.
Correct.
So,
who knows what we're going to say.
This is the weirdest texture
Also,
candy that I've ever had.
We're eating nostalgic kid snacks. Well, what we could find anyway at our local Walgreens. I'm noshing on some Jelly Bellies. Julia got these
awful vegan peach rings.
Yeah.
The problem is that they tried to make healthy peach rings instead of just making vegan peach rings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why so many companies are like, oh, the vegan version, it has to be healthy. No. Why? Give me the sugar.
The vegans want health.
Oh, this is in my teeth.
Well,
our drink is cool.
Our drink is, oh man.
It's a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. It's like an amalgamation of everything you would have wanted as a kid. At least for us. It's, we bought the hottest, pinkest monster. Mm-hmm. The Ultra Rosa. And we mixed that with some raspberry, cranberry, grape juice, and then some lime juice, and then the white Gatorade. And then, what was the other thing? There was one more thing, right?
Apple juice? Cranberry juice?
No,
juice?
no strawberry juice.
Something else pink.
I think that was it, maybe, actually. Hope you enjoyed my buffering humming there.
It's very good.
But yeah, so if you don't like eating sounds, sorry, maybe this isn't your episode. My bee chief. But yeah, let's get on into it.
Talk about some kid shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I feel like we should preface by saying the inspiration for this.
I was just about to say, what? Because I don't remember how we got this idea.
Julie and I were either high
I think we were high.
Legal weed edibles, or don't do drugs, or we were really happy, one of the two. And we were watching, I want to say we were watching It's a Piece of Cake to Bake a Pretty Cake.
Oh, yeah.
The, remix.
The Lil Jon remix.
And I was like, what happened to that? I think I asked, what happened to Sporticus? And you were like, what are you talking about?
I was like, I know nothing about Lazy Town.
Yeah, and so I ended up, Googling some BS about Sporticus. And I was like, I was like, wasn't Sporticus hot? And you were like, what are you talking about? No. And I Googled something to, prove that he was hot, I guess, in my desperation. And we went down this rabbit hole of, watching videos of Lazy Town and being like, why is this so weird? Mm-hmm. This is really strange. How did someone come up with this? And then from there, you were like, you remember the musical
episode of Arthur?
Yeah, and I was like, no, I don't. And I used to watch Arthur religiously. And you showed me a video, and it literally felt like, yeah, I've seen this, but also, fever dream? Did this? I thought this was a dream.
It's the episode is literally edited clip. The actual episode of Arthur, where they sing, what is the song?
Jekyll, Jekyll, hi, Jekyll, hi,
that one, but the ice cream one. I want some ice cream. Chocolate would be good. That portion is it looks like a fan edit because it's clips from different parts of Arthur, and they lined it up to make it a music video in the episode. It doesn't look like a real episode.
No, it feels like you're high. I know we watched that when we were sober, and it was what is this? Also, I'm sorry. I feel like I just drank so loud. Everyone just...
I've literally been slurping through this
If it wasn't loud, then good. If it was, sorry.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, unless you're into that, you little freak. Hello, my mom listens to this, yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mommy.
We definitely watched the Jekyll Hyde one
high. Because
I was like, have you seen that one also?
Yeah. And I was like, hell no,
I think I laughed for 30 minutes.
As you should. Anyway, so look that stuff up. But that was a jumping off point of kid shows are weird. How do people come up with these? Why are they so weird?
Right.
And what are some other weird things? And that's how this episode came about. That being said, drop some knowledge on us,
I'm going to talk about 4 different kids shows. Ranging from, like, targeted audience being different for each one. Mm-hmm. First, we're going to talk about Lazy Town, which I did a lot of research for because I've never seen an episode of Lazy Town. Why did I bite into this peach ring again like an idiot before I needed to talk? This is so uncomfortable.
Woof.
Well, we'll just muscle through it. Ooh, it's sour. Okay. Lazy Town is an Icelandic show that aired on Nick Jr., and its origins are from a stage adaptation of a book that was published in 1991. They did 2 stage performances of this book, and then somebody was like, I'm going to make this a kid's show.
That feels right.
Right? Like, I couldn't find the name of the book. I'm sure if I used a better source, I could have found the name of the book, but
we're not here for that,
we're not here
okay?
for that.
We're on a budget. We're on a time crunch.
There's only 2 of us in the cafe.
Mm-hmm.
The viewers are thrust into the world via Stephanie, the niece of the mayor of the town. And we learn about the town as she learns about the town. So it's like your typical fish out of water storytelling structure. The characters in the world consist of real people and full body puppets.
Yes, okay. I remember
which
being
look like ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah, and I remember being like, why is that?
I hate that.
Because what the heck?
It's scary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan. Like, no, we don't have time to get into it. I just don't like it. Like, everybody in the town except for, there's like, what, 5 humans? I don't know, it's weird.
Like, because there's like Sporticus, who's the gymnast.
Superhero.
Yeah. And then there's Stephanie, who's a human child.
Mm-hmm. The mayor.
But
Robbie Rotten.
And wait, is the mayor a human? I thought the mayor was a puppet.
Oh, you're right.
The mayor's a puppet. Robbie Rotten is a human.
Yeah.
And there is a bunch of weird stuff with Robbie Rotten, people thirsting over him.
A lot of these shows have weird cult followings also. Each of the characters has a color scheme, as most, kid shows do. They tend to stick to very bright colors. It's very sensory overload. Oh, each of the characters also represents different traits. So I'm going to go through the 4 puppet kids first. Trixie is the troublemaker who's hiding her smarts. Ziggy is the youngest and a big sweetheart with a sweet tooth. And I personally would argue that maybe he eats his feelings of fear and self-doubt. Which is why he always has candy. Like, each of their, like, traits is, like, it's something to do with, like, how, like, along, like, a child's developmental stages, like, different things they would, deal with and the way they would project and hide behind stuff, that kind of thing. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but, Stingy, great name, is jealous of all of his friends and seeks to collect as much as possible to assert himself as the king, as he believes possessions make you a superior person. And Pixel is the techie who sometimes spends too much time in the virtual world and so has trouble navigating the real one.
Pixel was my favorite of the puppet kids.
Mm-hmm. His design is cool.
Doesn't he have like a little headset or something?
He does.
Yeah, I liked his little headset.
And then our main girl, Stephanie, having been raised out of town, is the most well-balanced and seeks to help out her new friends with the aid of Sporticus. Sporticus, who was originally an elf in the stage version, but a human in the show, is the town superhero. He views himself as only slightly above average, but the town sees him as a hero regardless. He's the healthy, fit character that everyone wants to be like, and he leads by example. His Achilles heel is sugar, as it makes him sleepy.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Our villain in the series is Robbie Rotten. He does not like the examples that Sporticus sets for the kids, so he goes out of his way to make him look foolish. Because he wants everyone in the town to live up to the name and just be lazy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finally understanding.
Right? So, like, the main point of Lazy Town is to teach kids how to have fun, healthy habits.
Why did I never think of that until now?
Because it's so on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, surely it's not about just laziness. And it in fact is.
Wow. I feel like an idiot.
It's also like, it's like focus is to, because they do like, there's a lot of dancing, a lot of singing in the show.
Oh, yeah.
It's to get kids kind of like up and excited and moving around.
Oh, that's cute.
Which is like tracks. God, I can't remember the name of it, but like the Mickey Mouse Club, when they would do like the workout things, like the kids would sing like that. There's that, like a lot of kids shows.
Bops.
Mm-hmm. The Wiggles. Like a lot of kids shows seem to be aimed at just getting kids moving around.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, dang.
But yeah, so.
Well, that makes more sense. Why are they puppets, though? Why are the other kids puppets?
Right, like, I don't know. And it's not like they're like, oh, they're like a different species of human. Mm-hmm. They're humans. They just said, what if we got puppets? The only thing I could think would be, because I wish I had the year that they made the show. Like, it could have been just because a lot of kids shows. Yeah, it could just be that a lot of kids shows had puppets, because, like, Sesame Street had puppets, Maybe. The Muppet had puppets.
Do you think it has to do with, like, so Stephanie, does she have, like, main negative traits?
Mm-mm.
I wonder if it, like, has to do with, like, making a child actor portray, like, negative, quote-unquote, traits.
Could be.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're, especially, like, the kid who, like, emotionally eats.
Mm-hmm. And like that is me reading into it as an adult. I don't know that.
Well, no, but like if his like fault is that he
like he wants to be a superhero, but he's always eating candy.
If he always has candy, then like
he sleeps with a lollipop.
Yeah,
it's just on his pillow.
Yeah, I feel like also it's probably it could be a budget thing. Like we could be reading into it like really heavy, like they didn't want to do this to kid actor, but like
I don't know, but like. It seems like they paid a lot of attention to the psychology of everything they were presenting. Mm-hmm. So also, I like that argument that
with what gets into like what I get into later of why is it so weird? I have another theory that we could circle back to.
All right.
But I don't want to get into that right now.
Fair.
But yeah, so I'm right now I'm saying maybe they didn't want to damage a child actor's psyche of like, you're playing the emotional eater. You're playing the kid that sucks in as a bully.
Also, like, for kids watching, I'm sure that's a better way to take in that kind of thing, because there's a little bit of, like, emotional distance, because you're like, oh, well, yeah, but that's not a real person.
Yeah.
So, like, you get all the lessons and stuff, but it's not, like, a blow, because you don't look at that and you're like, that's me, because it's like, that's not a puppet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, okay, Lazy Town.
All right. Moving on from Lazy Town to Teletubbies.
Oh, man. The cult of the century.
The Teletubbies cult is wild. I grew up watching Teletubbies.
Me too.
And I never questioned anything about Teletubbies.
Me either. My dad was like, that shit is weird. Mm-hmm. Hi, Dad, if you're listening. He was like, that shit is fucking weird.
Yeah, so today,
I didn't like it.
We're going to question Teletubbies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Teletubbies was, wow, sorry. The sugars, I downed my drink, and I'm down... Oh my god.
she's feeling that monster. That Barbie pink monster.
It was really good, guys. Teletubbies was originally developed for the BBC and found its way onto PBS. And to quote directly from the Wikipedia page, it won multiple BAFTA awards.
I didn't know that.
And was nominated for 2 daytime Emmys throughout its run. A single based on the show's theme song reached #1 in the UK single chart in December of 1997 and remained in the top 75 for 32 weeks, selling over 1 million copies. And by October 2000, the franchise generated over £1 billion in merchandising sales, which is $1.6 billion.
Damn.
What?
Yeah. Damn. Favorite Teletubby, go.
Poe.
Yeah. If you don't like Poe...
Poe's the best.
What are you doing? Standing Tinky or Lala? No. We're all Poe stands up in here.
We're all Poe stands.
Wait, Poe is the red one, right?
Poe is the little red one.
Yeah, Poe is us.
She's the most fun.
Poe is all of us, the little one.
I got some shocking info about Poe. It's gonna blow your mind.
No.
Yeah, it's good info.
Okay.
It's weird and random.
Okay. Fair.
The 4 characters of the show are named for the televisions in their stomachs and live in the middle of a grassy field, so in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. In an Earth Dome house called the Tubbytronic Superdome.
Yeah, that's where we all want to be.
Their robot vacuum cleaner is named Nunu.
Me.
And the hillsides are inhabited by giant rabbits, like legitimately giant rabbits. They're Flemish giants, which are 2.5 feet long and up to 15 pounds.
Yeah. Which
is funny because when I was a kid, I was like, oh, tiny rabbits, child-sized Teletubbies. No. These Teletubbies, like Tinky Winky, I'm pretty sure is over 6.5 feet tall.
Yeah, they're big boys.
It's scary. Like if you look at pictures of them, like the people with the heads off, it's terrifying.
They're Andre the Giant sized children.
Gigantic toddlers. The characters speak to each other in gibberish and have slightly different antenna designs. They also each have an item that is their go-to, and I want to point out that I remembered all of these except for Dipsy's, and I double-checked looking it up, so it's really cool that all of this information is just in my brain still. Poe has a scooter, Lala has a bouncy ball, like a giant bouncy ball, Dipsy has a large black and white hat, and Tinky Winky has a red purse. Tinky Winky and Dipsy are male, and Lala and Poe are female. Now, this next thing is a little odd, purely because it does not extend to all 4 of the Teletubbies. It just covers 2 of them.
Oh.
The show's creators have stated that Dipsy is black, and given that it's a British show, that would make him either of African or African Caribbean descent, and that Poe is Cantonese, and she even speaks some Cantonese in the show.
That is so specific.
Right?
But, why aren't the other 2 specific as well?
I don't know.
Why are you gonna go so hard for just half of it?
Right.
That's cool.
And
but, why?
I also love that, they all speak gibberish, but Poe speaks Cantonese and gibberish. She speaks both.
Poe is a multilingual queen.
Yeah, that's why everyone stands Poe.
Yes.
She's the best. She's the most evolved of the Teletubbies.
Hashtag standing Poe.
The Teletubbies interact with voice trumpets that dole out activities and announcements. The sun is a baby. I couldn't really figure out why, other than just that's the wake-up call, so it's a baby. I don't rightly know. Couldn't find anything.
I don't rightly know.
And according to the series co-creator Andrew Davenport, the characters' movements were inspired by NASA crews. To him, footage of astronauts always looked like children exploring a new world.
Yeah.
So, everyone's, they look like aliens, but they were designed to look more like astronauts, and then they just gave them antennas and TVs. There doesn't seem to be any specific plot to the show. It's just aimed for young audiences, and I would say probably just general, visual and mental stimulation, because it's very colorful. There's a lot of fun activities.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sounds, and then they watch, real life stuff happen, too. So it's, this, playroom, and then also, real life things.
Yeah, which I'll kind of get into later with mine, why that might be wild. In doing my research, I didn't write down the exact quote, so if someone out there wants to throw down with fact-checking me, don't. But the...
entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, the quote was similar, but it was something like somebody said... Okay, wow, I just said something somebody said... Yeah, okay. The quote was similar to that the Teletubbies are babies that have been equipped with all this high-tech technology.
Yeah.
Wow, high-tech technology. With all this high-tech, basically babies in spacesuits living in a space dome, with all this stuff. So it just mimics a baby's life if they had all this technology. That's what somebody said the Teletubbies was. That's the only way you could describe it. And I think that's
definitely its core.
Yeah.
What I love about
its
it,
core
though,
wound.
It's core. It has a massive cult following.
Yeah.
Because people are very it's a very psychedelic show. Mm-hmm. So, people take psychedelics and watch Teletubbies.
Mm-hmm. Fox Mulder is quaking.
It's Fox Mulder's favorite TV show.
Yeah. He's like, I think I saw my sister.
Is that her behind the rabbit? Scully, it's me.
Mulder, no. Mulder, yes. Shout out to the X-Files fans out there.
Yeah, we should do an X-Files episode.
Yeah. Give this 2 likes and we'll do an X-Files. The bar is really high.
It's impossible to reach.
Mm-hmm.
But there's because it's based on spacesuits and looks very alien. There's a lot of theories that it's an alien race that's trying to set up a habitat somewhere else, because their ship looks like it looks like a flying saucer that crashed. Yeah. And grass grew over it, and they were like, would they live here now?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some if I were to write a crazy theory about Teletubbies, it would be that all of the adult Teletubbies died in the plane crash, and the ship has been taking care of the babies.
God, Jesus, that's so dark.
I know, but that's what happens with kids shows. You grow up and then you write dark backstories for them.
Guys, this is actually just a time jump, and this is what the first people on Mars are gonna be like. By the time we get to Mars, Elon Musk is gonna be a fucking Teletubby, and the ship's gonna crash, kill everyone. Archangel, whatever his son's name is with Grimes, is gonna be P90X is gonna be the new Poe. And the baby in the sun is it's a metaphor for us.
Yeah. Also, the actress who played the baby in the sun now has a baby.
That's crazy.
Just full circle. Did you know about the Tinky Winky controversy?
No, what is this? The freaking what is that?
Okay,
the fucking 3/4 compromise, aka the Tinky Winky controversy.
So, what's funny is I remember adults talking about this when I was a kid.
Okay.
Like, I heard, because I grew up Southern Baptist, so this was a fun topic at church.
Yay, the Teletubbies.
So, Tinky Winky carries around a red bag.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, Tinky Winky is promoting the gay agenda.
What?
Because Tinky Winky's a man with a purse. I shit you not.
Have they never seen a satchel? Also, do they know that, like, men can carry bags without
this was
wanting
very
to...
much... Like, this got to the point where, like, I saw a picture of, I believe it was a group of gay men who all dressed like Tinky Winky, sort of like, because Tinky Winky became the icon.
Yeah.
In and Out magazine, or In and Out magazine, there was an issue.
You mean Out magazine?
Maybe it was Out magazine.
I was like, In and Out.
Wait.
I think there's definitely Out magazine.
It was a magazine that had an In and Out section, like what's in and what's out. And
I see.
Literally, they had Ellen DeGeneres as because for a long time she was kind of the most vocal member of the queer community.
Yeah.
They said that Ellen DeGeneres is out as the head of the queer community, and Tinky Winky was in.
I'm dead.
That's in a magazine.
That's
because this controversy went wild because people were like, Tinky Winky is a man with a purse, and that's gay, and that's wrong, and we can't show kids that. And the creators were like, y'all, it's a bag. Tinky Winky is a giant alien-looking creature with a bag. And people were like, but he's gay. And the creator was like, they literally don't have a sexuality.
They are literally
they
big alien babies.
He's like, he's not straight or gay. He's just a Teletubby. And they were like, well, he's purple, and purple's the color...
Purple's the color of gay.
And his antenna's a triangle, and the triangle's a gay pride symbol. And, like,
what?
People were going ham on Teletubbies. They were like, no more Tinky Winky. So I don't know how that resolved. I think it either died down or they just stopped showing the episodes.
They started worrying about the frogs, you know.
Yeah. I think they stopped. I think it was more of an issue in the States. I think they stopped showing the episodes of him carrying a bag around. Because British men fucking carry bags all the time. Mm-hmm. Anyways, but yeah, that was a weird thing that happened. I had another thought and it instantly left my brain. But there was an episode that actually did get banned.
Oh.
Then censors were like, you cannot put this on television anymore.
What was it?
Because there was a scene in this episode where a cardboard cutout of it was either a lion or a tiger.
Are you talking about the cutouts that were, like, really terrifying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was a bear and I think it might have been a lion.
Yeah, and the lion was chasing the bear.
And they just, like, show them. They're really surreal. You can find it online.
Yeah, and that was a banned episode because they're like, you can't show this to kids. This is terrifying.
Yeah, like, it freaked a bunch of people out.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaky to watch as an adult because it's, like, very, like, what is going on?
Yeah, like, some of it's, like, so just, like, yes, this is clearly a kid's show, and then some stuff happens, you're like, what? Like the thing that Taylor Riley was talking about with the person who just shows up in the house and sings, and then the house fades away?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's a Teletubbies
That's
thing,
in
right?
Teletubbies,
yeah. Okay, so, yeah, there's an episode of Teletubbies that Taylor Riley reviewed in one of her videos.
Like, it's several episodes. It's a recurring
bit.
bit.
There's a house that appears, and this person, like, sings in the windows, and then it just, like, disappears, and it's, like, really surreal and, like, kind of unnerving. And, like, it's just like, why does that exist?
That was a spicy jelly bean.
Ooh, woof.
But yeah
Teletubbies, weird.
Mm-hmm. On the tail of Teletubbies,
oh, we're getting into it, boys.
we're gonna get into Booba,
who
was created by one of the creators of Teletubbies.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, Anne Wood. Her name?
They look like scrotal versions of the Teletubbies. There, I said it. Okay, we were all thinking it.
It's gonna blow your mind when I tell you what they actually are.
Oh, I'm scared.
Because, like, we've talked about trying to figure out Booba before. Never did I think it was this. But I want to start off the Booba section with a review of the show that I found on Google Reviews.
Oh, I'm so excited. Please read it dramatically.
Yes, by Ariana.
Can you give us, like, a voice? Like a... give us, like, a... I need to speak with the manager level of energy.
Okay.
Like, they've wronged you.
It's a good review, though.
But you're British.
Oh.
Okay, you're British and you need to speak to the manager, but you're, like, it's positive. Okay. That's how badly you need to speak to the manager.
My brain is like, how do I do a British accent? All right.
No pressure.
By far the best show there is out there. I got the chills, and it was so powerful that even though I shaved my legs, the hairs grew back. It's currently 1:44 in the morning, and me and my friend are having the best laugh we've had in many weeks. I've watched all of the legendary shows like The Wonder Pets, Little Einsteins, Blue's Clues, but this is just pure amazement. It's so grape, with a grape emoji. The exercises were fantastic and so efficient that we lost 20 pounds in 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
The queefs in the beginning were so touching. They really blew me away. This show gave us such an amazing laugh that we made noises, with a C, we didn't think we could make, and our faces are so broken from laughing. My whole body is aching from laughing, and my face is frozen with my mouth open. I can't even think. When they fly, it's so magical. It's grape, with another grape emoji. But a scene favorite is when Grandmama appears. She is a star. She popped up so fast, and then more people popped up and kept coming, but Grandmama was the star. I just have one thing to say, and that is bring back this show now. 105 people found this helpful.
Why did you kind of sound like Daisy Ridley?
Oh!
Daisy Ridley, thank you for appearing on our show.
You're very welcome.
Jeez. Wow, so, yeah, that was totally 100% serious. They did not write that satirically at all.
I do believe that it was 1 a.m. when they wrote it.
I do. But losing 20 pounds in 5 minutes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's another one of those shows where it's kids, get up, jump around.
The queefs, I believe. The losing 20 pounds in 5 seconds or whatever they said.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's, you know what? If that were the case, I think this would be the new P90X.
Mm-hmm.
Booba. Try the new Booba workout. You go in to do Zumba and they just put on a Booba episode. And you don't know what's going on. There's just like a bunch of like really excited like 50-year-old women going hard.
All in color coordinated jumpsuits.
Yeah. Big turtleneck.
Yeah. Oh man. What is funny to me, which I guess makes sense but also doesn't, Booba is for an older audience than Teletubbies.
Why?
It's for ages 3 to 6. And I was like, I gotta
that kind of makes sense.
Because, like, the rest of the structure of the show...
6-year-olds still don't, like, think that's super weird.
Like, it's, like, I get... Like, it's more structured than Teletubbies, but, like, the main mascots seem like they're for much
Babies.
Younger people.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird mix.
Because they're, like, softer Teletubbies.
And I would argue that Ann Wood is a Mulder and would like aliens to be here. So she just wrote them in some shows because these are also very alien-like.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And the Teletubbies are alien-like. But here's what they really are. She stated, quote, the show's visuals... Wow, I can't read. The show's visuals were inspired by scientific photographs of microscopic life and cell structures. The main characters, the Boobas, are atoms of energy who sleep in charging pods.
What?
That's why they want everyone to dance and like move around because they're atoms.
What about the Eves? I jest. What the heck?
Isn't that Banunanu?
Yeah, that's like actual cuckoo bananas.
Like but yeah, well there's 5 different Booba.
Okay.
Also in full-size person suits.
Yes, they're huge.
So they're like girthier than the Teletubbies.
And they look like I'm so
they're
sorry.
Scary.
Just look at them. Their heads are like little. I don't. You just look at a picture, okay? Just Google it right now. Whatever you're doing, stop.
Google Booba.
Google a Booba and look at what they look like. It's weird, man.
Makes me hear their names.
Oh man, I'm scared.
Okay, so. We have yellow, purple, orange, blue, and pink Boobas, all right? And
I like the pink one.
These are their names. Humba, Zumba, Zing Zing Zagba.
All right.
I don't know why he gets 3 names.
Privilege.
Jumba.
Okay.
And Jingba.
Jingba. That's
and then the human characters are Grandmama, Grandpapa, Mr. Man, Mrs. Lady, brother and sister, auntie, and little dog Fido.
I'm little dog Fido.
Yeah. Wow. The human cast is diverse, which is good. Mm-hmm. Like one of the few kids shows other than Sesame Street that actually had like a wide range of diversities included. But so there's a weird fact about the dog.
It's me.
Which makes me worry about the rest of the show. He's the only character in Story World who is not wholly controlled by the magic word Booba. What does that mean? Why are the people controlled by the word Booba?
They're hypnotized by atoms. What? It's a statement to our state of world now, man. No, I'm just kidding. That's weird.
Isn't that weird? Like,
I guess because he's a dog, because he's not the same species. But, like, what are the boobas doing then?
Right?
Hypnotizing us to dance with them. Little freaks.
Get fit, you fucks.
They're like, no fatties here. We're the only fatties allowed. Because boobas, they some chunky babies.
They're like fat superiority, us only.
Yeah, they're like, we must be the ruling majority. Okay, so here's the boobas plan. I've discovered it.
Okay.
It's all coming to me now.
Uh-huh.
Fox Mulder has entered my body. And okay, wait. Fox Mulder has possessed me.
Uh-huh.
And I am seeing his conspiracy through his conspiracy lens, okay? And the boobas, they come to Earth, all right? Uh-huh. They hypnotize us with their little boobah dances and their little boobah magic and their little boobah words. Mm-hmm. And then they instill in our media. Uh-huh. Okay, they go into the media and they start changing the what's the word? The beauty standards. They make the beauty standards to be really like voluptuous, large folks. Mm-hmm. But we're all getting fucking skinny as shit doing their stupid little dances. And we just keep getting skinnier and they just keep getting fatter. And they're like, this is why we are superior to you humans. You should let us rule. And then we're like, yes, almighty booba. And booba. And basically that's how they take over the world.
Okay.
Instagram and working out. Watch out for your local influencers, kids. You never know when they could try to overthrow the government.
Never let them know your next move.
Yeah. These large, colorful chicken nuggets. They look like hairy chicken nuggets.
They do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They look like hacky sacks.
They look like sacks.
They do look like ball sacks.
They look too scrotal for my comfort. I do not appreciate it.
Oh, and they have lights on their forehead?
Yeah, what is that about?
I don't know. I read the description of their character design, but they didn't give a reason.
I do know probably what that's about. I'll get into that in my description later of why.
But yeah, the booba.
So watch out for boobas. Okay?
Yeah, watch out for boobas.
Watch your booba back, okay?
So it's just a show to get kids engaged in activities because they do games, they're creative stuff. It's like,
and
it's
take
just
over the world.
And
yeah,
take over the world.
That's it. That's all.
You know. But what's funny is people were like, why isn't there a green boobah? And they were like, literally someone was like, green's not a creative color.
No.
But no, there's no green boobah. It's only very bright, like kind of overwhelming colors.
It's like Y2K. Threw up all over them. They are like a teenage girl's room in 2002.
Yeah. Boobahs brought to you by Claire's.
Yeah.
But I got one last show to discuss.
And then we're going to get into why. The why.
We're going to talk about one of my favorite shows, Arthur.
Why? I was going to sing that theme song and then I couldn't remember it.
Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet has an original point of view. And I say, hey!
What a wonderful kind of day. Yep, musical stylings brought to you by Insomnia Café.
We're going to release an album. Dead silent.
Release an album. Cricket.
But Arthur is based on a series of children's books by Mark Brown. It was developed in Canada for both Canadian and American audiences. It debuted. It came out in 1997.
It left the womb.
Yeah, making it the longest-running children's show, or longest-running animated children's show, and the second longest-running animated show in general, right behind The Simpsons.
The Symptoms.
Jeez, I can't speak today.
Wow.
That monster's just running through my brain.
Yeah, no, both of us are a little bit on that crackhead energy from all this sugar.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Also, the fact that it came out in 97 makes me think I've definitely been watching it since the very first season.
Oh, yeah, you definitely have.
So, that's cool.
I was not birthed that year, but I was pretty soon after, not giving away any of my secrets.
Never let them know your next move.
Not even my mom can know what year I was born.
Shit! Cover your ears, Carol.
Yeah. But yeah. Me and Arthur, we had some good times. I've dressed up as Arthur.
Oh my god, I just remembered. I saw Arthur live at the Orpheum in Memphis when I was a little kid.
I was like, here in LA?
No.
That's crazy, brother.
It was like they were in the mascot suits or whatever. And I remember being very confused because as a child, I thought that animated shows were like real life. Like I didn't think that it was like a drawing. Because I blame this on Roly Poly Oly. Because in Roly Poly Oly, they show that the main character is from a round planet, and then his buddy, who is shaped like a square, is from a square planet.
Yeah.
So in my head as a kid, I was like, oh, animated stuff, because I didn't know it was animated. I was like, oh, all these characters are just literally, I was like, oh, they're aliens. They're all from different planets, and this is what they look like on their planet.
We get a little broadcast.
They like literally get together and make these shows, and then we get to watch them. So when I was going to see Arthur, I was fully expecting to see Arthur
just like in the flesh.
In the flesh. And I was like, that's not Arthur, that's a suit.
That's a furry.
Honestly, I feel like the anthropomorphizing of the characters may have been what started. Because if you look at the main bulk of the furry community, it's millennials.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like it's because of Arthur. Mm-hmm. Like, eventually you just hit a point.
That.
Ooh, okay.
A little bit. Not a bunch. It's more like my own personal opinions rather than researched stuff. But yeah, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. We can talk about whatever we want. That's right.
But yeah, so I saw that and I was very confused. So I was like, that's not. And then I was like, oh, they're not from other planets. That's sad. I love how, like, as a kid, I was like, yeah, aliens are real. I watch them on TV every day.
Yeah. Of course, Fox Mulder believes in them. He sees them on PBS all the time.
Mulder, no.
Mulder, yes.
Since Arthur's for an older audience, it's easier to determine its main focus. It's about life and growing up and learning how to be a good friend and how to get through good and bad times. It's centered around a group of third graders and the adventures and misadventures that they go on. The antagonist tends to be life itself, although the kids do deal with bullies from time to time. But something I really like about the show, especially, is that the bullies also get arcs that show their humanity, and they learn lessons as well.
Yeah, they're not just like...
F
that guy. He took my crayon.
And, like, Binky has, like, a great arc of being, like, the third grade bully and then being friends with everybody.
Yeah.
One thing that I don't get, though... So, every character is an animal.
Yeah.
A lot of them have pets. Binky is literally a bulldog. Like, I looked it up to verify. Binky is a bulldog. Arthur has a pet dog. So, like, I'm like, where in the evolution... Like, obviously, it's a kid's show. It's not that deep. But, like, where in the evolution of these anthropomorphic animals did it stop? And, like, there's just also dogs that aren't sentient.
Yeah.
Like...
You're right. They all have they're not real dogs. They're for real friends. You know, those like little robot animals.
Yeah, they're robots.
Yeah, they have those instead in that world.
That's fair.
They just got really good at making the technology not be like every time they like turn their joints. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. and then when their voice box dies, you just hear when they try to bark. Hey. On a good note, though, Arthur is one of the only kids' shows to feature a same-sex relationship and wedding.
Gay.
Because Mr. Ratburn married his man Patrick.
Yeah.
And, like, they showed the wedding. And I remember when it came out, so I grew up in Tennessee, so people were talking about it. They weren't really happy with it, but I was like, that's fucking cool. Good for them. I haven't seen the episode yet. I learned that Patrick is a chocolatier.
Oh.
And I was like, Mr. Ratburn, he locked down a good one.
That's right.
And the show also has a diverse representation of religion, culture, and social classes. Like, some of the kids only have one parent, some move around a lot, have never felt rooted, some are religious, some aren't. There's all kinds of slices of life in the show, and it feels like it comes from a place of really wanting kids to see and respect everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just, God, I love Arthur. I could talk about Arthur forever.
Yes. No, I love Arthur too. I think, like, I have a lot of just, like, good memories watching Arthur, but also, like, could I tell you the plotline of any particular episode right now? No. Not in, like, a shady way. I feel like that sounds like I'm, like,
no.
Arthur's blah. It's just I haven't watched it in a long time.
I was gonna say, we haven't seen it in years.
But, yeah, no, when I was looking back at it, I was kind of shocked at how accurate to life, I think it is, compared to, like, other kids shows that are really nonsensical, which we're about to get into why maybe that is. But yeah, I think that's probably due to the age demographic of Arthur rather than, because, like, what's the age demographic generally?
I didn't look it up, but I would probably guess, because DW's in preschool, so I would guess kindergarten up to, like, maybe 5th grade.
Okay, yeah, so you're getting close to, like, 12-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, because, like, when you... Okay.
Because they're in 3rd grade, like, the main crew.
That's... Yeah.
Eventually they go to 4th grade, apparently.
Bum, bum, bum!
She's been in 3rd grade for 20 years.
I still can't read. Those multiplication are just really killing me, man.
They also cover really nuanced stuff. Like, they talk about bedwetting in the show. Like, there's a kid who has trouble talking, but when he has, like, his ventriloquist dummy, he can talk to anybody. They cover, like, imaginary friends.
Take that, Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Because Raj can't talk to women. He has to get drunk.
He has to have his grasshopper.
Yeah, except they could have given him a little puppet instead. It would have been less damaging. Anyway, but yeah, that's interesting. I think let's get into why.
Yes.
I think this is a good segue because I think part of the reason Arthur is more like just a slice of life and sensical, but also like has a plot line is because of the age demographic. Because what I found in doing research is that like children under the age of 2, they're not really taking in anything from the TV.
Yeah.
Like, they're just there to like see, to like just look at things. And so the Teletubbies, you kind of get and characters that are kind of strange looking, you get those because they're visually telling the child what to look at.
Oh.
So like
yeah.
Like, and this even up until like a child is like from like 3 to 6, kids can now like start slowly understanding story, but I read a whole thing on the BBC about how you should watch shows with your child of that age and discuss with them like what they think is happening throughout the show, or like what they think happened afterwards, or like talk with them about the plot, because it'll help them understand story better, because children can't fully understand story the way that adults do, or like similarly, until they're 12.
Wow.
Yeah, so like in that time, you can like they'll start understanding things, but it's very easy for them to get distracted, or it's very easy for them to become confused. So a lot of the like weird character designs and like extremely crazy colors, lots of movement, is to keep children visually focused on where the story is going and what to pay attention to. So like, yeah, a lot of that explains why a lot of their characters are like really weird looking, or like very what's it called, like I think it like really explains why a lot of characters are very odd looking and look very fantastical and maybe a little bit disturbing to adults, but that's just because it's like to get the child's focus and to like keep their focus and to visually point them in the right direction. Did you just get a butter jelly bean?
Oh yeah, it was popcorn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Those ones, they hit a little different.
Yeah, it punched me in the throat.
But speaking of like odd choices as well, so like it's not just... That's probably why Arthur is a little more slice of life, is because you're getting to the age where kids can start understanding story and can kind of follow, and they don't need as much visual clues as to what's going on. But like Caillou is also slice of life and is for younger audiences, right? But Caillou's just like, Caillou doesn't really have a plot per se all the time. He's just like existing. So like that, I believe, is like aimed more towards like 3 to 10-year-olds. I could be wrong on that, but it's like a pretty...
Yeah.
I mean, maybe less than 10. Maybe like 3 to 6. 3 to 7. But that show is more aimed to like when kids start to understand story and they just kind of see like natural life happening, which teaches them like this is normal life. This is cool, which sounds really dystopian when I say it, but it's just like... Yeah. It's good for kids to see. But going to like odd choices, right?
Yes.
So, puppets. Yeah, puppets and things. So one of the other reasons that kids shows often use like vague, non-human characters is so that children can see themselves in any of the characters.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so like I found that while researching, I think it's called Hey Dougie. Hey Dougie. It's a British children's show.
I've heard of.
And it's got like all the characters are animals, like Arthur, and they all have like, it's kind of similar in like they all have like pretty diverse lives, and they all like have different stuff. There's like one kid who speaks multiple languages, and like people have posited like the difference of like what these people could represent or what these animals could represent, but by making them animals, the kids can relate to like any of the characters and not have to be like, oh, that one is me, but it doesn't look like me, or like whatever, because they're all animals. Which can be, like, helpful. Also, with things being strange, okay. So there is, like, a point where it gets too strange. So researchers found that if there's a lot of, like, stuff that goes against physics, it confuses children, and it actually makes them more tired. Whereas, so they'll watch something and they'll be very entertained, but at the end of it, they don't want to work. Whereas you can put on, so, like, there was a researcher in, I believe it was England, that did a research study with, like, a group of 6-year-olds. She didn't do it for, like, super long term, so, like, this could be, you know, not something that affects you over time, but also she said the adults felt the same way because they also had to watch the shows. But they did this research experiment where they had, like, kids watch, like, Sesame Street, Caillou, shows that, like, encouraged learning and showed, like, kids learning, and then they also showed them episodes of SpongeBob. And the researchers all were like, wow, that was funny, blah, 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 whatever. And then they would be like, I don't really want to do anything, though, now. And they found the same thing with the 6-year-olds, is that, like, after watching SpongeBob, they just, like, didn't feel motivated to work. Whereas after watching Sesame Street or whatever, they're, like, they were excited to go and, like, learn and do stuff.
Whoa.
And I have a quote here. And it explains why kind of this is. It says, very early in life, if not innately, babies have a folk understanding of how things fall, or that if something pushes against something else, it's going to fall down. But what happens is that a car flies through the air, then it winds up in outer space, then suddenly they're skiing down a slope. They're under the sea, they pour cat food out of a box, and what comes out is far more than could possibly have fit inside that box. It's just one thing after another, and it can't possibly happen in the real world. Our brains aren't set up to process all of that. My inkling is that the prefrontal cortex is working hard to figure out all of that, and then poof, it can't do it, and it's just not realistic. So basically, like, by showing, like, little kids all of this, like, crazy stuff that their brain, because they're kids, so, like, they don't necessarily know that this isn't possible.
Right.
They just, innately they know that it's not possible to just, like, defy gravity, but, like, they consciously don't know that.
Right.
So them trying to put together all the pieces unconsciously of how it works tires them out.
Dude!
Because at first they thought, when doing this experiment, it was because the editing of SpongeBob is very fast.
Right.
So the frame changes every 11 seconds, whereas in Caillou it changes every 24 or 34. And so they were saying, like, oh, it's probably because it's so fast-paced it tires them out. No, it's the physics. So if you see... Yeah, so, like, while it could be good for a child's imagination to watch something like that, it's not good for productivity and, like, learning kind of stuff. It's more for, like, yeah. So, like, there is a point where, like, stuff gets too, quote-unquote, weird.
That makes me wonder about the Magic School Bus, because there's a lot of very, like, real science shit that happens, but
they also do, like, let's shrink inside
like, it's
this
very
kid's body.
fantastical.
Yeah, which, like, so within the article that I read to pull a lot of this info from, there was the argument of, like, well, how do like, kids learn, because you have to keep their attention and you need it to be somewhat fantastical so that they're entertained, because you can't just there also is, like, a point where, like, they talked about, I can't remember the name of the show, but they were talking about a show that was current to this article that a lot of kids were really into, and the parents were like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And it shows information in kind of, like, a fantastical way, the same way as Magic School Bus. And the reason that, like, you need those things is because, like, if you show a child just, like, a nature documentary, they're, like, capable of understanding, but it's so, like, boring. They took samples from the show, and there was, like, they showed it to parents, and the parents really loved this one section that was really calm, and it showed, like, very clear, like, this is a lion. Lion go rawr. And then, like, like, the rest of the show was, like, freaking dancing aliens and a moon coming down from the sky and whatever. And they showed the kids the same stuff, and the kids did not like the part that the parents liked. They still retained the information, but they thought it was very repetitive and boring. Where, like, the lion was like, this is lion go rawr. And then they showed it again, like, 3 times, whatever. So, like, it just shows that, like, you need a balance. Now, SpongeBob wasn't really created for, like, the purpose of teaching kids stuff. There is a theory. We can go into this now. So, like, that's kind of why kids shows are weird. To keep kids' attention, to visually point them in the right direction, and to also, like, be inclusive. But also there's a lot of theories that kids shows are weird because they represent other things. And, like, a lot of adults will watch these kid shows and they will put the adult ideas onto them. So, like, one thing with SpongeBob is people think it represents the 7 deadly sins.
What?
Yeah. People think that, I don't know all of them. I know, like, Patrick is sloth, Sandy is pride, Mr. Krabs is greed. Either SpongeBob or Squidward is lust, one of the two. Because I think they equate, like, SpongeBob to lust in, like, his career. Like, he really wants a specific thing in the career. But people say that it's the 7 deadly sins. And, like, same thing with, I'm trying to think of the other one that I found that I was like, what? Oh, like, people wrote that creepypasta about Rugrats.
Rugrats, yeah.
You know, like, that being all about mental illness, or,
Angelica imagining all of it.
Yeah, and being an abused child that's, like, using hallucinations, basically, to cope. But there's a lot of, like, adult theories. I know also with, what we were talking about with furries earlier.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of people who think that a lot of the shows we consumed as children have influenced our sexual kinks, let's say. Like, such as the show, like, Totally Spies. No, that's, like, a show for older, like, preteens. But it has a lot of weird stuff in it. Part of that could be, like, an adult actually putting weird stuff into a kid's TV show, and part of that could be my next point, which is that a lot of these shows are foreign, that become, like, quote-unquote weird, and then they don't always get translated properly, or something that might be culturally significant to one place might be really weird in another, or vice versa. So, like, speaking of a specific example, there is a show from the 60s called The Magic Roundabout that was really popular in Britain.
The Magic Roundabout?
Yeah, it's about, like, a merry-go-round.
I hate roundabouts.
And the show, everyone, because it came out in the 60s, and it's, like, claymation, and one of the characters, like, is always chewing on a flower, one of the characters is always eating sugar cubes, another one is always talking about grass. And so they were like, and everyone just, like, acts really nonsensically. There's no plot line. It's really weird, from what I could tell. And people were always like, what? This has to be drugs. Like, they're talking about drugs. Well, the show is from France. And was broadcast in England, but they didn't attempt to translate it from everything I could find. They would just, like, watch it and, like, make up stuff as they went along, the people voicing it and stuff.
Come on!
So, yeah, it could be about drugs. But also, we have no idea, without watching the French episodes translated, because we don't know the purpose of, like, some of these things. And obviously, like, I didn't watch the show in French to prepare for this, so I can't definitively tell you, like, no, it's not about drugs. And, you know, whatever, but a lot of similar shows are that way. Like, Totally Spies, I believe, is Italian.
Whoa.
I could be wrong, but I believe it's Italian and was translated, or it's from an Italian source, and then was made, let's Google that right now.
Yeah.
Was broadcast by a Canadian broadcasting network. Let's find out.
Jar TV. I think all of Teletubbies is on Amazon Prime, by the way, if you guys want to watch that.
Oh, okay, so Totally Spies was created by a French animation company and a French broadcaster, co-produced with a Canadian company, originally in a Japanese animation style, originally based around the concept of a girl group. We know all this. Where am I getting the Italian thing from?
Maybe it was a different show.
Maybe. But yeah, Totally Spies, another one that's, like, French. So, yeah, it could be, like, some weird... Because there is some stuff in there that I'm like, I feel like you were trying to implant some fetishery. But there's also, like, some stuff that it's like, maybe that's just not weird to, like, French folks. And we in America think that's really strange.
I never considered the cultural differences for television shows.
Yeah. Also, like,
when they wind up in different countries.
Yeah, because, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that, like, differ culturally that we find weird that other people don't, vice versa.
Yeah.
But to conclude, basically, all of this, kid shows are weird mostly for legitimate reasons. Like, they research a lot of, like, what will get kids' attention. But also, when adults watch them, we're inherently looking to explain why.
Yeah. Which
leads to a lot of people just assuming, like, oh, well, this is about drugs, this is about the 7 deadly sins, this is whatever. When, in theory, it actually could just be, this will hold the kids' attention the longest, and... Yeah. And
I think it says something really interesting too about, like, the human subconscious and, like, sort of that shared psyche we have of, like especially the 7 deadly sins thing. It's like, well, like, it could have influenced character, but like a lot of, let me finish a sentence.
We're struggling here.
Like a lot of people tend to find, like, especially the 7 deadly sins in a lot of, they're like, oh, well, this is this and this and this. And I think some of it stems from sort of finding those connections naturally, because something like the 7 deadly sins is very archetypal to human nature. Yeah. So you like, and like part of the way your mind works as a developed adult is like you look for connections because you seek to ground yourself in the world around you. So when you find connections, it just sort of happens naturally, like you're always looking for them. Yeah. So it makes sense that like something that's like definitely not aimed for your age group, you'd be like, oh, well, it has to have these other meanings in it, and you just pull from your experience or your subconscious, like very common themes. And also probably because like storytelling structure wise tends to be, unless it's surrealism, it tends to follow a very similar structure just about every story. Yeah. And it has a lot of the same themes and stuff because, like, you know, stories are about human nature. Human nature also only goes so far.
We inherently, like, we see faces and stuff. Yeah. We try and find, like, meaning for things. Like, humans are always looking for, like...
We're an infinitely curious species.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like, look at the whole basis of, like, a lot of human cultural practices is just finding meaning in life. Yeah. So, like, it makes sense that we watch these kid shows with our children and be like, yes, with our children, me and Julia's child. Yeah.
Our baby Grogu.
Yes, we watch these with our baby Grogu dolls, and we're like, what the heck? This has to be some kind of weird thing, because I don't understand it, and I'm an adult, so I have to understand it. You know, but...
I also just, like, the thing about the nonsensical, like... SpongeBob, like the thing about SpongeBob making people tired, and like that makes me think about Cartoon Network shows that like primarily have adult audiences. Yeah, like Adventure Time, for example. Like obviously it's a kid show. Like
well,
kids
watched it. Adventure Time was pitched as an adult.
But like it's like thinking about like especially stoners who are like, oh yeah, we get stoned and watch kid shows. Like that's a very common thing, and I think it's because now that you talked about it, like the shows that are very like, you know, jump around and are crazy and stuff, like. We're just trying to relax enough to go to sleep at night.
Yeah. Well, that's like there are specific shows. I think it's called The Night Garden. Ooh. There's a show called The Night Garden that a lot of people, it's British, if I'm not correct as well. Also, Britain, or at least the UK, has like a very high budget for their children's animation, hence Peppa Pig. Yes. Also, somebody brought up in a video that I watched, that might be in the sources, I don't know, that Peppa Pig seems like she might have a personality disorder. But they can't call her Peppa the sociopath. So, but anyway, yeah, they have a very high budget there for their children's animation. So they have a lot of, like, highly popular children's shows that are big in other countries. And The Night Garden is one of those. And it has, like, a baby falling asleep in a boat in the beginning, and like alone at night, and then the baby wakes up in a garden, and it's all like nonsensical Teletubbies, but like Alice in Wonderland. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's like symbolism for death, and like the baby's in the afterlife, and blah. And it's just like, but like the show's creator is like, no, we just made it for like kids to like wind down to and like dream. Aww. So like it's just it's like we as adults are like, the baby's dead and in the underworld and having like all these crazy trippy moments, bro. And the creators are like, no, it's just so that kids would fall asleep.
You're overthinking it there, buddy.
That's all. So you wouldn't have no nightmares. That's it. Aw. But yeah, it's really weird, but it all makes sense when it boils down, I guess. Woof.
Well, that was a fun.
Yeah, that was a fun little ride. Romp through nostalgia. Maybe you're thinking about your favorite kids show now.
Drop your favorite kids show in the comments.
Yes, and if you don't, then we'll know. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense, like some of the kids show plots. But yeah, kids shows are weird, but they're weird for a purpose. Sorry to tell you that your really deep conspiracy theory about it is probably nothing at all. But, you know, maybe that's what they want us to think. Anyway, so with that, I'm gonna turn off the jukebox.
Oh, right.
We're gonna clean the counters. I don't remember what's in this place. We've renovated.
I'm dusting from the drywall that we just put up.
Yeah. It was
There's dust everywhere.
Wear a mask when you're doing construction work and when you're in large groups of people. COVID's still out there, babes. And
you get clown lung from the drywall.
Clown lung, not clown lung. Wow, we didn't do a single episode during Pride Month. Anyway, we hope you've had a nice little time with us today. We'll be back soon. Yeah, also we'll probably be releasing a blooper episode.
That'll be in it.
Yeah. We'll probably be releasing a bloopers episode soon, so look forward to that for a little giggle. And we'll see you
when we see you.
Yeah. Stay spooky.
I'm locking the door. Get out.
Goodbye. I gotta go. I only had 20-minute parking. It's minute 21. Parking ticket's gonna be $500. No.